Hello there, I'm back. So here's Fernanda Paiva from Hitchhiking Stars, bringing you some insights and food for thought for every lunation. So let's talk about the full moon eclipse. So here we are, get ready. Eclipse season is upon us. So let's talk about the first one, which will be a lunar total eclipse. That's going to be happening on the 14th of March 2025, and it might be on the 13th of March depending where you are in the world as well. So lunar total eclipse, and that's going to be happening at 23 degrees Virgo. So that's a Virgo full moon. And obviously full moons have that connection to combinations with something becoming really clear, crystal clear in the sky as well as within us and around us. And I think this is obviously even more so because it's an eclipse, because it's a total eclipse as well. So there are a few things I want to talk about with you here, because this is super important. This is an eclipse season, but also as usual I want to look at the chart of this full moon and some of the major aspects that this full moon will be forming, as well as the Sabian symbol that I always love to bring it and discuss with you, that imagery, that symbolism, etc. So first I want to talk a little bit about the eclipse season itself, and I was just reflecting on that the other day, and eclipse seasons can have 3 different layers, and I've done a whole video about that on my own YouTube channel the other day, and it's such an interesting idea here as well, so you guys can reflect on it as well. So 3 different layers of eclipse, and basically I think the way that I put it, and obviously this has a connection to your birth chart. If you know your birth chart, then you can go even deeper into this knowledge, into this idea. So the first layer of an eclipse is when the eclipse happens around your chart, but it doesn't really pick anything up. So let's say you do not have anything at 23 degrees Virgo. So 23, 24, 22, around those degrees of Virgo, Pisces, Sagittarius, and Gemini. So this eclipse isn't really picking up on anything. It's not on your ascendant, it's not near your sun or your natal Venus or anything like that. So this lunar eclipse will be bringing changes, as eclipses usually will be flagging. But they will be more connected to the set of houses where it's falling. So is it across the 1st or the 10th and the 4th house? And, this is going to give you a grounding, a sense of where this is happening, what areas of my life are under transformation here, etc. But usually the changes do not necessarily need to be that dramatic. Now, the second layer is when the full moon eclipse is picking up something personal in your birth chart. So let's say you have your ascendant at 23 degrees Virgo, or your midheaven, or your natal sun, or your Venus, or your Mars, etc. Then that becomes a little bit more personal and a little bit more urgent here as well, right? Now, the third layer of experiencing an eclipse, and I think that's what this eclipse is going to be about, because for the ones that have planets on these degrees, because Saturn is so involved in this eclipse. So the third layer is connected to eclipse season that will be activating not only something in your birth chart, but also a transit that you're going through. So a planet in the sky has been already touching something in your birth chart, and an eclipse comes and charges with even more energy. So it's really important to keep your eyes peeled during this lunar eclipse here, because Saturn, as I've mentioned, is super under the spotlight here. So the full moon eclipse happens at 23 degrees Virgo, and Saturn is at 22 degrees Pisces. So there is a very tight opposition to Saturn in Pisces. So for anyone that has something in their birth chart, this is definitely activating the Saturn transit that you're also having. And Saturn being so strongly in the spotlight is definitely saying something about hard work, mastering, growing up, maturity, crystallizing something. All right. Now we can think also about the axis of Virgo and Pisces, and that's connected to the lunar nodes, right? Because eclipses happen around the lunar nodes, and that shift has happened already, and the north node has shifted from Aries to Pisces, and the south node to Virgo. So these axes here with the south node in Virgo and the moon there as well, and the north node in Pisces with Saturn there as well, so the sun and Saturn, is really emphasizing on letting go the moon, the south node, the past, letting go of the shadows of Virgo. So we're learning to let go of overthinking, overanalyzing, trying to control everything, being anxious about serving and being useful, and etc. Always feeling that we have to do something. With the North Node in Pisces, we're learning about the art of non-action, or the ability to go with the flow, or the ability to know things without knowing. Think about Pisces in connection to the card of the moon in tarot. And the moon is about the secrets and the mysteries and the things that we can't quite see clearly when we try to pin them down, when we try to really dissect and analyze them. So this lunar eclipse is telling us to move forward in that process, to really embrace our spirituality, to really embrace the Piscean side of life by letting go of some of the darker sides of Virgo, some of the extreme behavior connected to Virgo here, the shadows, right? So an important thing to keep in mind here as well is that imagine you're on a boat going down a river. You can steer the boat so you can make decisions. That's not what we're talking about when we're saying go with the flow and embrace Pisces. You can still make decisions and have willpower, but you're going down the river. You're not trying to go up the river. So really aligning is a wonderful time to align ourselves with our higher self, to align ourselves with our spiritual beliefs and our spiritual values as well, and all of that. So this is one of the things here that's super important. Now let's have a look at the Sabian symbol, which I usually like to share in this voice note here with you as well. So the Sabian symbol for 23 Virgo is Mary and her little lamb. So Mary and her little lamb. And again, it really emphasizes the idea of spirituality, or spirituality itself. It really brings an emphasis on that. And looking at the symbolism of lamb, it has a connection to innocence, to purity, to sacrifice, rebirth, gentleness, humility, and divine grace as well. So those can be some of the values that we can be embracing here. And I would be extra cautious with sacrifice though. So just hold that there as well, because we are also learning, I think after the North Node has gone through Aries, and Venus and Mercury are in Aries as well here with this lunar eclipse, we're also learning about individuality here. So it's not full-blown like Pisces and go into the shadows of Pisces as well. But there is the idea of rebirth, which I'm very, very interested, or the symbolism of rebirth in the imagery of the lamb. And this is something that's very relevant to eclipse season. Eclipse season will intensify, will activate, will definitely bring things to the surface. Things that we've ignored, that we haven't really looked, that we know but we don't want to look into too much. Things that have been a problem for a long time, but we're just not addressing it. So a full moon, lunar, total eclipse tends to make things more intense or bring that intensity up to the surface. And the intense emotions are really about looking at what's going on, bringing these things to the surface. So remember, full moons, culminations, the big bright moon in the sky means that we can see things more clearly. Now during an eclipse season, even more so. An eclipse has happened because those are lunations happening around the lunar nodes, and the lunar nodes are talking about collective spiritual growth, advancement. So you have a kind of a feeling of urgency there because of that. But it really is about the lessons and the growth that we need to go through. Now, I thought was really important as well. So embracing spirituality and gentleness and divine grace and the sense of rebirth, right? That this Sabian symbol is talking about. Now, I couldn't resist, but I had to look at the Sabian symbol for Saturn as well, because Saturn is so importantly placed here at 22 degrees Pisces. So the 22nd degree of Pisces, Sabian symbol is a materializing medium giving a seance. Now I thought that was very thought-provoking as well, because this brings another layer to our interpretation. And here we have questions about authority as well. Are we following someone? Are we developing our own connection with the source and our own inner authority? Or are we following someone? And can we trust this authority figure, right? When it comes to spirituality. Now, there are lessons connected to authority. There are lessons connected to growing and maturing, because Saturn is so involved in this eclipse. And those are some of the questions that we need to ask. Are we developing these inner authority? Are we really stepping into our power here by taking responsibility, by taking accountability for our individual spiritual journey, right? Our beliefs, our practices, the things that we do, our rituals, all of those are really super important. So I just thought that was a great imagery here with the Sabian symbol as well, because the medium represents an authority here, bringing the message and channeling and creating the seance. Now, are we doing that? And how are we doing that? So questions around that is also going to be rising to the surface as well. And how are we taking our own spiritual rituals seriously as well, right? And how are we growing and maturing as a spiritual beings here as well with that Saturn in Pisces. Now, couple of things here as well from the chart. Venus is still retrograde, so we've got Venus at 7 degrees Aries, so there's a little bit of that flavor here going on as well, with reassessing our values here as well, having the possibility to reassess, relook, rethink, etc. And our relationships as well, the things connected to Venus that we are being invited to reassess and rethink. And Mercury is also in Aries here. So Mercury rules that moon, the full moon in Virgo. And that's why I said hold your horses here with the idea of sacrifice, because we're still also learning. There is a huge bridge between Pisces and Aries that we're going to be seeing this whole year. You know, Neptune is going to move to Aries, and the North Node moved from Aries to Pisces. So we're still dealing with a lot of the Pisces Aries flavor combined together. So it's not about sacrificing everything as well. We need to have a healthier idea and manifestation of our individuality as well. It's being healthier individuals that are part of something larger, that knows that we are all interconnected. That's the Piscean flavor. So we are individually serving, individually doing the higher service with Pisces there as well. So that's it. This is what I wanted to share with you about this lunar eclipse, this eclipse season. So I hope that this has been helpful and that you have a wonderful, beautiful full moon eclipse, and that you can really use this magical time in the best way possible for your growth and to become your best self and create magic in this life as well. So take care, have a wonderful full moon, and I'll be speaking to you all soon.